Now, the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show.
Thanks to the Detroit Tigers, the dog days of summer weren't too bad here in the state of Michigan. And while the Tigers continue their push for the postseason, football season has arrived in East Lansing. Thanks for tuning in to the MSU Federal Credit Union Coaches Show. Michigan State's football team kicks off a brand new season on Friday, August 29th against Western Michigan here at Spartan Stadium. It'll mark the second year for Jonathan Smith leading the program, and while the Spartans have been going through fall camp this month, we had a chance to sit down with Smith to talk more about his team heading into year two. Appreciate you taking the time to do this, getting ready for year two now here at Michigan State. When you think back to last year compared to now this year, what do you feel like is the biggest difference going into year two?
Oh, I think that just so much has been established in regards to our routine, the expectations, the second year in systems, right? So the second year going through it, whether offense, defense, special teams, because I've always been a believer in continuity, and we've done a nice job staff-wise, schematically. Not that we're not making some changes, but just knowing the schemes better, knowing the players better, knew some areas we needed to create more competition position-wise and recruited to that and got a lot here in January, and so we've added some competition. So all of that makes you feel like you're heading in a good direction.
When last season ended, you guys lose to Rutgers. What was sort of the mindset going into the offseason of like what needed to change?
Well, we need to get better, I know that, and in all three phases. Again, create more competition in rooms, and really I think about the depth needed in this Big Ten. I mean, 9 conference games, the wear and tear, the travel of that, the good opponents you're playing. We needed to get better, and so yeah, obviously targeted on the recruiting side early on, but then taking a deep look schematically, and making sure we're putting guys in the best positions, and we've took that on from January all the way till whatever it is now, third week of August.
When you think about recruiting and just the landscape of the Midwest, the state of Michigan, I guess, how has your perspective of that changed?
Well, there's good football. You just learn more. You try to more and more. There's good high school coaching going on, Michigan, and drivable distance from here. So there's some good players that we're trying to add to our roster and build the roster kind of inside out. Now, it can't be exclusively. There's a lot of differences now in college recruiting from the portal and just nationally, but we want to build the base of our roster from this state and driving distance.
Not many teams in the Big Ten return both their coordinators as well as their starting quarterback. I guess, how does that help you guys right now of really kind of hitting the ground running this year?
We feel good about that in regards to, obviously we want to get better. Let's talk coordinators, both of us have done it at a really high level, and so schematically the schemes are sound and solid, and now we make sure knowing our roster better to put those guys in the best positions. And then, yeah, on the quarterback side, Aiden being able to take a nice jump from year 1 to year 2, some similar to what he did last year during the season, and just improving, making that nice jump. We needed to surround him with some better in regards to more competitive depth, and so we've done that in those particular positions. O-line, we feel like we've added there, receiver-wise, where I think we're in a good place, and Nick Marsh coming back. So there's a lot to the quarterback / the offense taking a nice step, and Aiden will be a big part of that.
With Aiden, he's still very young despite being a junior. He's younger than some sophomores right now, I guess. In a way, where have you seen his maturity grow too?
Just handling adversity, of being a starting quarterback in this league and making some really good plays, and then having some plays that he'd want back and learning from that. I think his composure and how competitive he is, it showed up last year and it'll continue this next year.
You feel like last year in a way humbled him in a way of knowing what Big Ten football is like and where he needed to make progress? Because I'm sure a lot of times it was just almost easy for him probably in high school.
Yeah, I think he understood the challenge that is Big Ten football, and in year 1 in a new program, new scheme for all of us, right? And so in ways I think it hardened him a little bit and recognized this ain't easy. I don't think he thought it was going to be easy, but actually going through the experience, I think that is. And I got a bunch of respect for him, how he continues to handle it, continues to be about his teammates and things of that nature, never playing some blame game or anything like that.
He's a captain for the second year in a row. What leadership skills has he really just developed over the last few years?
It's interesting. We vote for captains, but what I do, I ask them just to tell me why they're voting for him. Just a quick sentence or a couple of words, and some of the things described in Aiden is, again, connector. People gain respect for him, how he handled going through some ups and downs last year. Aiden wasn't alone. There's 5 guys that got voted captain, and all those guys represent this place, and I think it worked out well. We got a couple guys at the line of scrimmage, a couple guys on defense, offense. Sam Edwards, so impressive. The respect, the way he approaches it, how much Michigan State football means to him. We got a great group of captains.
I wanted to ask too about with Jordan Hall being the captain. Obviously, he's always had those leadership skills. I feel like his freshman year, that was something that really spoke highly of him. Where have you seen his growth in terms of not just as a player, but off the field as well to be a leader for this team?
I think he's a great mentor. He's someone that anyone on the roster can go to. I do think they take notice of how he approaches practice and preparing, how he takes care of his body off the field, the activities he's involved in. He's always bringing others along. Excited for Jordan, and I anticipate him having a really, really big year.
When building that part of this team throughout the offseason, what was sort of the mindset of what you guys needed for the receivers?
Well, we needed to complement Nick Marsh. I mean, Nick Marsh is a good special player, and so you've got to get some other guys where he's not going to just live and get double teamed the whole time, which I think we did. We were able to add 4, really 6 in January to create more competition. You look at the variety of skill set, was pleased with that. Some guys a little bit shorter, the real juice. Some guys a little bit taller, body catching radius, to be able to complement that. And so a lot of guys too that arrived, just proven. They had done it at the college level, had stats of catches, a lot of tape, things of that nature. And so I'm hopeful, that position room can be a strength for us.
When you have a guy like a Nick Marsh who is poised, it seems like, to have a big season, I guess what is sort of the expectation with him going into his sophomore year?
Yeah, I mean, to have a big season, but also we want to win some games, and there's going to be some times where if they're going to choose to take maybe Nick away, whether it's coverage-wise, recognition, we have got to have some answers away from him. Nick's great in regards to he's so focused on himself improving, and they're not worried about his stats. He wants to win games, and so whatever we got to do that. Yes, do we want him to have a great year, stats and touches? Yeah. At the same time, whatever's going to be the best way to score, we're going to do that.
Selfishly, as someone who works in this area and covers a lot of the high school sports, I do want to ask about 2 of the East Lansing guys. With first Evan Boyd, I guess he kind of touched on the big body guys you've brought into the receiver room. Is that what he brings?
Yeah, he had a great spring. He came in here, learned the scheme pretty well, and he made a lot of plays through spring. Smart, he got the ability to move him with a couple of spots, not just staying at one position the whole time. I do, with the catching radius, he can make contested catches. I think he's got great instinct as well of separation, sitting in holes. He's been a great addition.
And then with Jace Clarizio, obviously, he's a true freshman, but I guess what have you been so impressed about with him so far?
I think Jace has grown since arrival in January to where he's at now. And because, look, this is a step up, big-time college football, the demands, time management, the work ethic it takes. He has really grown, and he was having a big time fall camp. Had a bunch of runs. He's learned. Just watch him. He's got great speed. He likes to get outside on the edge and get to the corner. Sometimes you need to be able to stick it up in there in the middle, and he's had multiple reps of doing that this fall camp.
What have you liked too about that running back room as a whole?
I think we got some talent, and that's been a competitive room because again, we don't have a returning starter there. They did a nice job this last scrimmage in carrying the ball. Mekhi Frazier carries and catching the ball in the backfield. Brandon had some good physical runs. He scored a couple times. So we feel like we've got some depth there, and we need more than just one at running back, going back to having depth in this league.
So please join me in welcoming Michigan State's next Director of Athletics, our 21st Director, Jay Batt.
This offseason was pretty big for the athletic program here at Michigan State with Jay Batt being hired as the new athletic director. What have your conversations been like with him, and how have things been going with Jay?
Yeah, been going good. You know, I think he's innovative. He has some clear pictures of how he wants to continue to push the athletic program to be one of the best around. Alignment in regards to leadership is vitally important, especially in this ever-changing landscape. I think Jay is in, not just all on football, but truly still the college experience for these athletes, but competing at the highest level.
How have you had to change to this new changing landscape of football?
Yeah, I think you got to be a little fluid. I'll say it this way: you're always adjusting, right? And the landscape is moving, but not losing your soul or your foundational pieces. Is still kind of having an environment where guys are growing, developing, understanding. These guys are 18 to 22, not just straight commodities. Even though there is a compensation factor now, but you're always adapting and changing to the landscape without losing some of the foundational pieces.
Last month or so, you guys have been so focused on fall camp. Now you're starting to see kids return to campus, the band playing. Yeah. I guess, do you feel that excitement brewing?
Without question, the band practices right outside my office window, so that adds it. You see so many students moving in to the dorm this week, and so there's a little bit of buzz and getting closer. What
have you learned about Spartan Nation that's something that maybe you didn't expect last year, that's something you learned this offseason?
Well, you felt just a passion for the place, passion for football, but definitely other sports, and the real pride that Spartans have in the football program, and we want to get this thing to a place they're continuing to be proud of it.